They'll tell you women fear losing the rich guy, the handsome guy, or the guy who spoils her with gifts. But that's not the truth. What every woman truly fears losing is the man she can't replace. The man who stands so firm in who he is that no amount of temptation, drama, or manipulation can shake his frame. The man who doesn't chase approval because he is approval. This isn't what you'll hear in the mainstream. They'll say, just be nice, communicate more, be vulnerable. But here's the hard truths. Most of what you've been told about relationships is designed to make you weaker, not stronger. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on the kind of man every woman fears, losing the man she thinks about long after he's gone. And here's the catch. This kind of man is rare, almost extinct in today's world, which is exactly why you need to watch this before it's deleted. Because once you understand what really makes a man irreplaceable, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. Let's start by exposing the biggest lie men have been taught: the illusion of the nice guy. You've been told your whole life that women want the nice guy. Be kind, be patient, be understanding, do everything right, and she'll love you for it. Sounds noble, right? But here's the cold reality. Niceness without strength isn't attractive, it's predictable. And predictability kills desire. Every nice guy starts with good intentions. He listens, he gives, he sacrifices. He believes that if he just proves how loyal and caring he is, she'll see his worth. But instead, she starts to pull away. He gets confused. Wasn't I doing everything right? What he doesn't realize is that his constant approval seeking slowly erases the very thing women are drawn to: his edge, his mystery, his independence. What you think women want: comfort, reassurance, total agreement, tisn't what they truly need. Women crave emotional polarity. They're drawn to men who lead, who have boundaries, who can say no without guilt, not because they're mean or distant, but because they're grounded in who they are. You've been doing it all wrong. But most guys never learn this. They keep bending, hoping their devotion will earn love. The truth: love can't be negotiated through people-pleasing. Respect is born from strength. The nice guy doesn't lose because he's kind. He loses because he hides his masculinity behind kindness. He's afraid of rejection, afraid of standing up for himself, afraid of being seen as too much. But the man every woman fears losing isn't afraid. He doesn't beg for attention. He commands it. And once you understand that difference, everything changes. Because the moment you stop chasing validation and start living with purpose, the entire dynamic flips. She stops testing you and starts respecting you. Now, let's go deeper into what really makes a man powerful and why women can't walk away from him once they've felt it. Power. It's one of the most misunderstood words in modern relationships. Most men think power means money, muscles, or social status. But that's surface level. The kind of power women truly fear losing has nothing to do with what's in your wallet, and everything to do with what's inside your mind. Real power is silent, steady, and unshakable. It's the energy of a man who knows who he is, refuses to compromise that for anyone. Asterisk. When a man doesn't need validation, he becomes irreplaceable. Because validation is the currency of the weak. The moment you stop begging for approval, you start to stand out from every other man who's trying too hard to be liked. Women don't fear losing the guy who gives them everything. They fear losing the man who doesn't need them to feel complete. That's real power. Being whole without her, yet choosing her anyway. Most men miss this. They think attraction is built through giving, agreeing, or outshining. But attraction doesn't work like that. Power is magnetic precisely because it's independent. It says, I'm good either way. That calm confidence, that internal balance drives women crazy. Because it's so rare. You've probably seen it before. The man who walks into a room and instantly commands attention without saying a word. It's not his looks. It's not his clothes. It's his energy, grounded, certain, centered. He doesn't perform. He doesn't chase. He leads simply by being himself. That's the kind of presence women remember long after he's gone. Real power comes from decisiveness, the ability to make choices without fear. When a man has direction, when he moves with purpose, everything around him aligns. Women are instinctively drawn to that sense of certainty because it makes them feel safe, not in a weak way, but in a primal, magnetic way. Contrast that with a man who's always unsure, always adjusting himself to please others. His energy feels chaotic, needy, uncertain. A woman can't trust that energy because it's not rooted in anything solid. The man with real power doesn't control others, he controls himself. His emotions, his actions, his focus. That's emotional intelligence. That's dominance without arrogance. And when a woman meets a man like that, she feels it instantly. This is someone she can't manipulate, can't predict, and can't forget. So while most men chase attention, the powerful man commands respect. He doesn't demand loyalty, he inspires it. And once a woman experiences that kind of energy, every other man feels like a downgrade. Because here's the truth. The rarest thing in today's world isn't money or status, it's masculine groundedness. The kind of power that doesn't shout, it radiates. That's why when she meets that man, she'll fear losing him more than anything else. Next, let's break down the specific traits that make this man unforgettable, the exact characteristics that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. If you want to become the kind of man every woman fears losing, you need to understand this. Now he isn't defined by luck, genetics, or circumstance. He's defined by the traits he builds every single day through discipline and self-awareness. These traits aren't about impressing others. They're about embodying strength so deeply that it becomes who you are. Let's break down the 5 pillars that make this man truly unforgettable. 1. Emotional control. In a world where most men react, the fearless man responds. He doesn't let anger, jealousy, or insecurity dictate his actions. When chaos hits, he's calm and checkable. Imagine a storm crashing against a rock. The storm rages, but the rock never moves. That's emotional control. Women fear losing that kind of stability because it makes them feel grounded, protected, and safe. The man who can control himself can control any situation. Point 2. Leadership. Leadership isn't about barking orders. It's about direction, conviction, and vision. A fearless man leads not because he needs to, but because people want to follow him. Whether it's in his career, his relationship, or his community, he moves with purpose. Think of the difference between a ship drifting aimlessly and one with a captain who knows exactly where he's going. A woman respects the man with a compass, not the one waiting for her to steer. 3. Integrity. This is the foundation of real masculinity. Integrity means doing what's right even when nobody's watching. It's the ability to hold your word, to stand by your principles, even when it costs you something. A man with integrity doesn't compromise his values for validation. Women fear losing him because he's rare. He can't be manipulated with flattery or guilt. His honesty commands respect, even when it's uncomfortable. 4. Independence. Independence is magnetic because it signals strength. The fearless man doesn't revolve his identity around anyone, not a woman, not his job, not society's approval. He builds a life that fulfills him first. Picture 2 men. One waits for someone to complete him. The other walks his own path and invites others to join the journey. Which one do you think she'll never forget? Independence breeds confidence. Confidence breeds attraction. 5. Clarity of purpose. Purpose is what separates the average from the exceptional. It's that inner fire that drives a man forward when others quit. A man with purpose doesn't need to chase attention. His focus naturally commands it. Women are instinctively drawn to men who know where they're going, because purpose creates direction, and direction creates trust. Without purpose, a man drifts. With it, he becomes unstoppable. Together, these traits form the DNA of the fearless man, the one women remember long after he's gone. Because deep down, every woman knows that being with such a man elevates her too. His energy challenges her, excites her, and inspires her. And when she realizes that kind of man doesn't come around twice, she'll hold on tighter than ever. But here's the catch: these traits aren't built overnight. They require self-mastery, discipline, and brutal honesty with yourself. Most men never reach this level because it demands sacrifice, comfort, distraction, ego. But for the few who do, everything changes. Now that you understand what defines the fearless man, it's time to uncover why these traits don't just attract women temporarily, but create a bond that's nearly impossible to break. Let's talk about the secret to lasting attraction. Most men think attraction fades because time kills it. But the truth is, attraction doesn't die suffocated by predictability. What keeps a woman captivated isn't constant affection or reassurance. It's the delicate balance between dependability and mystery. It's the sense that she can trust you, but never fully figure you out. You see, most men make this mistake, and they lose her without even realizing it. They believe the key to lasting love is to give her everything, to be always available, always agreeable, always ready to please. But what she felt drawn to in the beginning wasn't your compliance, it was your energy. The challenge, the excitement of a man who had a life, a mission, a presence that didn't orbit around her. Lasting attraction is born in contrast. It's not about chaos, but polarity, the dynamic tension between masculine stability and feminine emotion. She feels secure because you're grounded, yet thrilled because you're unpredictable. You're her rock, but not her routine. That's the paradox that keeps her invested. When you maintain emotional control, she feels safe. When you remain a bit of a mystery, she stays intrigued. When you challenge her, she feels alive. Women fear losing the man who continues to grow, evolve, and push himself because deep down, she knows he could walk away at any moment and rebuild without her. That sense of independence is intoxicating. Think of it like this. Attraction is a flame. Most men smother it with too much attention, too much availability, too much comfort. The fearless man understands the balance. He gives warmth, not fire. He gives presence, not obsession. That's what keeps the connection alive long after the honeymoon phase fades. What you think keeps her interested. Consistency, devotion, predictability isn't what truly bonds her. What keeps her hooked is motion, evolution, the constant reminder that she's with a man who chooses her, not needs her. And that's the secret. Lasting attraction comes from growth. Keep becoming better, stronger, and more focused. And she never stopped chasing the version of you that keeps leveling up. Next, let's look at the one trap even high-value men fall into: the silent killer of attraction and respect. Here's the harsh truth. Even the strongest men can lose everything, not because they weren't good enough, but because they got comfortable. Complacency is the silent killer of attraction. It doesn't show up overnight. It creeps in slowly: the skipped gym sessions, the missed opportunities, the moments you stop challenging yourself because you think you've already won. If you fall into this trap, you risk losing everything. Because the moment you stop evolving, she stops feeling that spark. Women don't fall in love with who you were. They stay in love with who you continue to become. When a man stops growing, his energy changes. What used to be confident turns into routine. What used to be inspiring becomes predictable. Asterisk, most men make this mistake right after they get the girl. They think the chase is over. They stop leading, stop improving, stop maintaining their edge. But here's the contrast: the very thing that made her fall for you was your momentum. You had goals, discipline, direction. You were building something bigger than the relationship itself. When that motion dies, so does the polarity that kept her drawn to you. The solution? Keep pushing boundaries. Stay on your path. Challenge yourself every single day, physically, mentally, emotionally. Not to impress her, but because progress is the lifeblood of masculinity. When you keep leveling up, she feels it. The energy shifts. You radiate purpose again, and that's what reignites attraction. A man who keeps moving forward never loses value. He doesn't rely on the relationship to validate him. He brings value into it. And that's the difference between men who fade and men who last. So don't mistake comfort for connection. Comfort breeds stagnation, and stagnation breeds distance. The fearless man never stops sharpening himself, because he knows the moment he settles, he starts to lose not just her respect, but his own. Next, let's talk about how to take all of this: the power, the traits, the growth, and turn it into a life strategy that makes you truly irreplaceable. If you want to become the kind of man every woman fears losing, it starts with one decision: to stop living reactively and start living intentionally. The men who follow this path will never be forgotten. Make sure you're one of them. Becoming irreplaceable isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Every day, you sharpen the blade. Every day, you make small, deliberate moves that separate you from the masses of men who drift through life without direction. Let's break it down. Step 1. Master your mindset. Everything begins in your head. Most men are prisoners of emotion. They let fear, anger, or doubt dictate their choices. You must flip that script. Train yourself to observe your emotions without being ruled by them. When you control your state, you control your world. Step 2. Build ruthless discipline. Discipline is the currency of freedom. Wake up early. Train your body. Invest in your craft. Stay consistent even when nobody's watching. Every rep, every late night, every small win compounds into quiet power. Women and the world can feel that energy. It's rare and it's magnetic. Step 3. Reflect and refine. Real men self-audit. They ask, where am I weak? Where am I wasting time? Who am I becoming? Journal, meditate, strip away the noise, and face the truth. Growth doesn't come from pretending. It comes from confronting the uncomfortable and fixing it. Step 4. Live with purpose. Don't make a woman your mission. Invite her to join yours. Whether it's building a business, mastering a skill, or creating something lasting, your purpose must come first. That focus gives your life direction and makes you impossible to replace. Step 5. Stay evolving. Never stop growing. The second you think you've made it, you start to fade. Keep learning, keep improving, keep expanding your horizons. The fearless man is never done. He's always becoming. Because here's the truth. The world forgets most men, but the ones who walk this path are men who choose discipline over comfort, purpose over pleasure, and strength over validation. Those men live forever in people's minds. Now that you know how to become irreplaceable, let's reveal the final truth why. The woman who meets this man will never, ever let him go. Here's the final truth. When you become a man of power, purpose, and presence, you stop chasing and start attracting. You become the man women fear losing, not because you play games, but because your value speaks louder than words. Emotional control, integrity, independence, and directions as are rare currencies of modern masculinity, and the man who possesses them doesn't need to prove himself. His very existence demands respect. Women don't cling to men who need them. They cling to men who choose them. When she feels that you're with her out of want, not dependency, she feels both desire and security. That's the paradox of attraction. The less you need, the more you draw in. And when she realizes you're a man who could walk away but doesn't, that's when she'll fight to keep you. Asterisk. But here's the warning. If you don't start applying this now, you risk fading into the background another man who had potential but never acted on it. Power isn't found. It's forged. And every day you wait, you're choosing comfort over greatness. So take this seriously. Start mastering yourself. Start leading your life with purpose. The world doesn't remember the men who blended and knit. Remembers the ones who stood out. The time to change is now. Be the man every woman fears losing, and every man wishes he could be. Becoming the man every woman fears losing isn't a dream, it's a choice. It starts with discipline, purpose, and the relentless pursuit of growth. Emotional control, independence, and clarity of vision aren't optional. They're essential. Every step you take toward mastery makes you more magnetic, more respected, and more irreplaceable. Don't wait for life for her to pass you by. Take action now. Transform yourself into the man who commands respect, inspires desire, and leaves a lasting impact. Comment below if you're ready to become the man every woman fears losing and start your journey today.